Are we on all these? Let's do it. Here we go. I can't take it anymore. The ignorance of people on both sides of the aisle. The ignorance from my side, the Republicans, and the ignorance from the left side, the liberals. I can't stand it anymore. I can't take it, and I'm going to explain this, and it's just driving me nuts. This is Spazzing Out, America's podcast. We do the podcast 5 times a week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. When I record the podcast, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube. If you're watching on any of those, follow me, like the page, share it, subscribe to it, do whatever you do. Do it. Let people know we're on. Most people listen on the app, right? They're listening on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, Pandora. Hey, Alexa, play Spazzing Out, America's podcast. Go to one of those, subscribe to my podcast. Go to Anthony Pazziali and subscribe. Good. We got that out of the way. I'm when it comes to the presidential election, I have had enough of ignorance on both sides of the aisle. I've had enough of idiots on the left side bitching and moaning about what President Trump should just walk away and forget it. And then I would say, okay, if you thought that you were treated unfairly, if you thought that there was election fraud, you too would go to court. So shut up. Let the man go to court. Let him get his day in court. That's what's great about this country. This country gives you the opportunity to use the checks and balances of the country to make sure that things were done fair and proper. He gets his right, just like every other American, to litigate. So please, yes, I get it. You would like to move on. Let the country move on. Just shut up. I can't handle it. Then on the Republican side, I can't deal with the morons that can't understand Trump's strategy. I just want to say, you know what? I don't want you to be a Republican anymore. Please, when Republicans talk to me about, they'll say, oh, look, the president has, they found a flash drive and it's got 2,500 votes on it. I want to punch them in their face. I want to say, you idiot, you moron. There is no way in hell there are enough votes to in a recount to overturn an election. There are not. There's not going to be. Shut up about the stupid recount and about how you think there's enough votes. And then the morons on the left, they'll say, you don't have enough votes. Yes, we don't. We don't have enough votes. But that's not what we're trying to do. You idiots. That's not his strategy. You morons. Take a moment. Read history. Go back. Look at the Constitution. Try to figure out what the president is trying to do, and I will tell it to you. I'll explain it to you, and then I don't want to hear about it ever again. The president is not trying to overturn shit. He is not trying to get more votes. He is trying to keep these states from certifying their election. He wants them to have confusion. He wants them to not be able to certify it because there are so many irregularities. For example, in Georgia, they want more flash drives in different counties to pop up. They want more ballots to show up with fucked up signatures so that someone over there or that their state legislator says, hey, clearly there was something wrong with this election. We will not certify. And if they do not certify, neither of these guys get the electoral college votes. They don't get them. Do you understand what that means? It means that Biden would come down. Trump wouldn't go up. Biden would come down. The point is to bring Joe Biden below 270 electoral votes. The point is to get Michigan to not certify, Pennsylvania to not certify, Georgia to not certify, Nevada to not certify. Therefore, without the certification, Joe Biden wouldn't have the 270, which is needed to become the president. You with me now, you dipshits on both sides of the aisle? I hate it. I feel like I'm like, what? It's like when I'm watching football with somebody and then I have to explain the game to them. I got yes, that's a forward pass. Right, that's right. The quarterback throws the ball to the open wide receiver. And sometimes the wide receiver is not open and there's an interception or a tip ball. And if the ball hits the ground, there's no complete. Like, I want to, it drives me nuts. So simple on both sides. Please, I can't handle it anymore. I can't sit and listen to Democrats be like, these didn't enough votes. Yeah, we don't care. We're not looking for votes. We're not looking for votes. We're looking for irregularities. We don't care. We know there's not enough votes. Never in the history has there ever been an election overturned by such a margin on a recount. Typically, recounts get you maybe 100, 200, 300, 500 votes, 1,000 at most. Yes, I understand clearly that there are not enough votes to overturn a state to flip it to Trump, but that's not what they're trying to do. And then the idiotic Republicans that are like, yeah, we found 2,000 votes. You sound like a moron. Get out of my party. Get out. Yeah, I don't care if Trump lost. You're telling me this guy just on Twitter says Trump lost. Get over it. I don't give a fuck if Trump lost. I don't care. I mean, yes, I care. I voted for Trump. I wanted him to win. But I'm one of those people that I let the process play out. This is why we have a government. This is why we have a constitution. This is why we have, three branches of the government, so that we have the executive, we have the judicial. I can't even get the word out. The fucking courts and the legislature. We have this for a reason. Checks and balances. But what I can't handle anymore is the morons that can't understand the strategy of what's going on. Everybody's like, oh, Trump should just not litigate. First off, the Democrats would litigate until the end. Hillary Clinton herself said, we will litigate. Hillary Clinton said, never concede, fight until you die. And now that we're doing it, people are pissed. But the problem that I can't handle with these people that are pissed is they don't understand what's happening. They don't understand the goal. And I'll explain it again, and then we'll move on from it, because I can't. Please, if you see me in person, I don't want to hear shit about recounts, and I don't want to hear about, oh, look at how many more votes we found. It does nothing. Recounts do not overturn elections. The goal, again, President Trump's legal team, his goal is to not get more votes. His goal is to not up his electoral college. His goal is to lower Joe Biden's by having states not certify. So if Pennsylvania doesn't certify, if Michigan doesn't certify, if Georgia doesn't certify, if Nevada doesn't certify, Joe Biden doesn't get those votes. Trump doesn't either. That's the plan. The plan is to have enough states not certify so that neither candidate has a majority of the electoral college on on December 14th when they get together. What happens? This is what happens when you don't have enough electoral votes to be president. If you don't have the 270, it goes to the House of Representatives. And then the House of Representatives votes for who the next president is, state by state, not by representative. California gets one vote. Massachusetts gets one vote. Georgia gets one vote. And currently, there are more states that are Republican, red states, than there are blue states. When you go one vote for one vote, and that is President Trump's road to victory. Do I know if that's going to happen? I don't know. And honestly, if it'd be great. I want the president to be president another 4 more years, but this isn't a conversation about whether or not Trump should win or Biden should win. This is a conversation about idiots who don't understand the process, and I want to rip their faces off. I hate it. I can't stand people, morons. Every time I talk to somebody, I think about Animal Farm. I've read this book, Animal Farm, a bazillion times. It's a very simple book that a third grader could read, and it will explain to you everything you ever need to know about fucking government and about what happens when one part of a government throws over another and they become the exact same fucking problem. Read the book. Educate yourself. Think about it. Sit back. Critically think, people. Critically think. Sit back and just think. Listen to, look, you can watch CNN, or you can watch Fox or Newsmax or ABC. I don't care. Go do your research online. Figure out how many elections have been overturned for recounts, and you look and you're like, shit, there's like none. And every time there's a recount, it's like 100 votes. It's like 1 or 2 actually elections that get overturned, but the vote margin was like within 100. So then you got to start saying to yourself, all right, there's probably no chance in hell that the recount would give the state to Trump. And then you start saying, well, what the fuck are they doing? And then you notice that some votes start coming in and people get excited on either side. The Democrats are like, you found 2,000 votes and, 1,600 of them went to Biden. You guys are morons. And then, you sit there and you're on the Trump side and the Trump people are like, yeah, we got like 800 votes. Yeah. And I'm like, these people are both morons. There's got to be something deeper here. There's got to be something to this non-certification. So I take it a little deeper. I'm like, well, what would the point be of not certifying? What happens if the state doesn't certify? So I take it deeper. If the state doesn't certify, then their electoral votes are in question and they don't have an electorate. They don't get to pick. Now, of course, these states that don't certify, if they were a Republican body legislator or a Democratic body legislator, they could force the shit through. Of course they could. They could force it through. And that is why Trump is trying to find as many irregularities as possible. And he wants to force the Supreme Court to tell the state that their election can't be certified because there's too many irregularities. So there's two ways to get not certified. The state legislator could say, hey, we're not certifying, like they did in that Nevada County on the local election. They said, no, we're not. This is getting tossed out because there's too many irregularities. So Trump's hope is that there would be so Nevada, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, let's say they have Republican legislators. His hope is that they won't certify it. But if they do certify it, then he will sue and he will toss it up to the high court and hope that the high court will say, yeah, there's too many irregularities. You found 5 different flash drives with votes on them. The machines didn't work. Any number of things. That the whole purpose is to find a shit ton of irregularities, not more votes for non-certification. And then when there is no certification, the electoral college votes can't go to someone. Therefore, Biden goes down. Biden goes below the 270. Then you do not have a majority. Then once there is no majority, it goes to the House of Representatives. And then the House of Representatives votes state by state, one vote. And in that situation, the president would probably most likely win because there are more red states than there are blue states. Does that make sense? Does this make sense to you people? Do you understand this? So now please do me a favor. When you see me in public and you talk to me and you want to have a conversation about recounts and what's going on, I've explained my side. I will merely tell you, don't talk to me. Go listen to my podcast. Go listen to the podcast, read between the lines, understand what they're trying to do. Do I think they will be successful? I don't know. My honest opinion is I do not think the Supreme Court will hear any of the cases. That's my opinion. I think the Supreme Court will kick it back and say it's a state problem. That's what I think they will do. I think it will get up to the Supreme Court and they will say, get this shit out of here. It belongs with the states and the states will have to deal with it. So I don't, that's my personal opinion. But my thought as a strategist, that's how, and it's happened before. Van Buren becomes president because there wasn't enough, there were contested ballots in the Electoral College and it got kicked to the House of Representatives and they decided who the fucking president was. That's it. That's how it's done. So please, I'm done. I'm moving on from this topic. Just enough. There is the strategy. That's what the Trump campaign is trying to do. They have the right to do it. So doesn't the Democrats. The Democrats have the same fucking right as Republicans have. I can't stand in this damn country why people talk about, oh, we're so divided. You are just as divisive as we are. The people on the left, if we say the sky is blue, you say the sky is red. If we say the sky is red, you say the sky is blue. There is nobody agrees on shit. And everybody has a double standard. Speaking of double standards, this is what I love about the left and their double standard garbage. We're going into massive hikes on coronavirus. It seems like the coronavirus is double, tripling. It seems like there are more cases in the coronavirus. What would someone asked if Biden would win in a street fight? I don't. Trump's pretty out of shape. I'd watch out. Biden might just sidestep him and he'd fall on his fat ass. So right now, coronavirus is spiking. There are more cases now in terms of shooting up as they were in April. It was bad. There were lockdowns. There was no toilet paper. And trust me, bro, I'm buying toilet paper and I'm a hoarder. I got tons of toilet paper. I have tons of paper towel and I'm buying water. by the case. Every time I go out, I come home, I got toilet paper because I'm telling you, if there's one thing that's going to happen in this fucking next lockdown is I'm going to be able to wipe my ass. Period. I will be wiping my ass. So now they're spiking up. So whatever. When I get into conversations with people, I don't like to talk about things that I really don't know about. Okay, I'm not a doctor. I'm maybe I could have been one if I went to college for it, but I didn't. I went to college for communications, and so I worked in radio for years. And then after getting out of radio, I started my own business, trunk removal company, real estate investment company. And now here I am doing a podcast because I want to get back into communicating. Honestly, the reason to sit down and do the podcast is I want to blow this thing up because I want to educate the American people. Someone's got to replace Rush Limbaugh. That's right. I just said it. At some point in my life, hopefully I get to replace Rush because Rush is going to die. He'll be gone in the next fucking year or two. You need more people to get out there and stick up for America than just sit at home, lugging and throwing trash on the back of their trucks and explain things to the American people like I just did about Trump's strategy to critically think. So the conversation isn't about the coronavirus. It's about the lockdowns that are coming, that the government's doing. Like our governor here, Charlie Baker, and his lockdown, which, by the way, I want to get to a double standard with what happened in California. I can't stand double standard government. Anytime there is to do as I say, not as I do governors, do as I say, not as I do politicians, I can't stand them. That should be cause for getting bounced. Anytime you are a politician and you go against the very law or the very executive order that you put in place, you should be on the spot, forced to resign and forced to just get out. There should be no forgiveness, honestly, none whatsoever. When you make everybody else do something but you don't do it, that is like the definition of being of thinking you're a king, of thinking you're a ruling class, of being a dictator. That's shit doesn't happen. So first off, I just want to get something funny here in Massachusetts. In Mass, we have a curfew like a lot of states. There's a 10 o'clock curfew. All businesses have to shut down at 9:30, which is garbage. I mean, you're just basically stifling anything you can do here in Massachusetts to kill off a small business, they're doing. Millions of small businesses are going to go out of business. By the time the summer comes around, there will be no more small businesses. They'll all be crushed, and all these people will have to go back into the workforce, and there's no fucking work for them unless they're going to go work at Amazon and make, $17 an hour. Good luck with that. So anyways, I was driving. Dude, I go to bed early. I get up and I try to do the podcast. I'm probably in bed about 9 o'clock, unless there's something on. Maybe if there's football on, I'll stay up and I'll watch the game until it's over, like 11:30, 12 o'clock or something like that. There has to be a reason to stay up. Maybe it's like the presidential debates. But for the most part, I'm snoozing 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm definitely out. I happen to have been out past 10. And I got nervous. I literally did. I was like, damn. And it made me think that the governor has created a reason to be pulled over for no reason. And it kind of irked me. I was like, wait a second. Typically, and look, I support police officers. So on this program, we back the blue 150%. We think they are good guys before they are bad guys. There are some bad eggs in the police departments, but for the most part, we think they're good guys. And I convinced myself of that while I was driving. I said, you know what? These guys are good guys. I'm all set. But it just made me think of the overreach of the government, the reaching in and just creating laws that are unnecessary, but that take away rights from us. And I thought about that while I was driving. I hadn't thought about it before because I was out past 10 and I was like, shit, if I get pulled over, what am I going to say? Because I wasn't out. I'm going to implicate myself. I was not out food shopping and I was not out going to work. I was on my way home from, whatever. I was with Kaylee. We were on our way home from a restaurant. But maybe I could have said that I was on my way home. But it took longer than a half hour to get home to where we went. So now it's like 10 o'clock. It's like 10:05. And I'm about 3 miles from my house. And as you know, if you get pulled over, you always get pulled over within like a mile of your house. You've had a couple of cocktails and, the cop asks you, where do you live? And you're like, fuck, my house is right there. Even if it isn't right there, you say it's right there. But anyways, Here's the thing. I didn't drink because I was worried. These are the things I didn't do because I was worried about getting pulled over past 10 p.m. I didn't drink because I was like, shit, if I get pulled over, she's like, you're not going to get pulled over if you have a drink. And I go, yeah. I go, I'm not going to get pulled over if I have a drink. But now that it's past 10 o'clock, the police don't have to have a reason to pull you over. It's past 10 o'clock. They can just say, well, we pulled him over because he was out past curfew. Done. And I'm like, that irked me. I'm like driving home and I'm like, wow, this is fucked up that I can now get pulled over for no reason. Not that I'm going to. Most police officers, like I said, are good guys. And I said that to myself. I said, I'm not worried about this. I'm going home. They're not going to pull me over. They're good guys, really. And probably a lot of them don't even like the law. They're or the mandate or the executive order. They're just like, this sucks that we actually have to do this. The point is they can, and they don't have to make anything up. So think about back in the day when a cop had to pull someone over and they'd be like, shit, his tail light was out, and then they broke the tail light, right? I don't know if that ever actually happens to people, but you see it in movies. Now, you can just get pulled over and you try to fight it or something. They're going to say, no. No, this guy was out past 10. It's curfew. That's why we pulled him over. We pulled him over and we wanted to fucking, I get that it's supposed to be for protection, but I just want to point out to people that there is a certain right of, basically you can get pulled over and checked and almost, you can't get searched, but it can lead to it just for the fact that you were out past 10 o'clock. That should be a problem for people. I understand that the governor is trying to protect people. In his mind, he thinks he's doing the right thing because clearly after 10 o'clock or after 9:30, COVID turns into a gremlin and it becomes more it becomes more infectious after 10 o'clock. It's a proven study that after 10 p.m., the coronavirus turns into a ravenous monster, and it spreads more easily. I'm kidding. I hope you understand the sarcasm there, that it doesn't fucking matter if it's 10 p.m. or before 10 p.m. It's a bullshit arbitrary time to lock the state down. But now if you are out past that time, they don't have to have a reason. You're not protected anymore. You don't have any rights. After 10 o'clock, your rights are gone to be questioned by the police, to be pulled over. Like I said, you still have to have a warrant to be searched. But at that point, at that point, your rights have already been violated. You're just an American citizen for no reason, and you just got fucking pulled over for nothing. That's a problem. And these things, and giving up rights are like that. I say it a lot on here. That commercial where the guy's like, one lie leads to another, two lies, oh brother. Well, they should have a thing about losing one right leads to losing another. Lose a right, you lose another. If you don't fight for the small rights, it makes it easier for them to take the bigger rights. And I can understand where people are just like, oh, guy, really, you're bitching about having to be home at 10. I'm just trying to point out a fact that when you don't stick up for yourself and you don't complain about small little things, it's the same thing with your wife. If something aggravates you with your wife and you just keep it to yourself, right? Then slowly but surely, first, it starts with, you can't hang out with some of your boys. Then the next thing is you can't watch fucking football. And then before you know it, bro, you're doing the dishes and you're fucking cleaning the floors and you're swabbing the decks in your house because you slowly but surely lost your rights because you didn't say shit and you didn't stick up for yourself because you don't have a fucking nutsack. All right, anyways, that was just one thing I wanted to point out. I just thought it was weird. That feeling. I don't want to have that feeling. This is the United States of America. I don't want to have that feeling of panic at 10 p.m. if I happen to be out that late, that I could just get pulled over for no reason whatsoever just because I was out. What am I doing? What are you doing out? Get mad. I don't want to be. What do you mean? What the fuck am I doing out? I'm an American citizen. I go out whenever I want. Nobody tells me what to do. I don't commit any crimes. I'm out. All right, so let's get to California real quick. Do as I say, not as I do. Government drives me nuts. California has the same type lockdown rules, mandates, executive orders from their governor, Gavin Newsom. He's put in restrictions for Thanksgiving of gatherings less than 10 people, wearing masks indoors with people, social distancing while you're indoors. Thanksgiving is going to be the super spreader of the coronavirus, will spike to high levels on Thanksgiving in California. The governor is putting out executive orders there. Newsom wants people to stay the fuck away from each other, but yet he goes to a birthday party where there were more than 12 people, and no one's wearing a mask. Nobody is social distancing. Everybody is drinking. They're having a grand old time with the Emperor of California because he is a do as I say, not as I do governor. Therefore, he thinks he is better than you, like Nancy Pelosi when she got her hair cut. I think this kind of shit drives me insane. And this is how I feel about it. If you are someone in power, any position of power, and you set a mandate that the people, the masses, the mutants can't do something, and you go against that very mandate, you go out and you say, Thanksgiving gatherings, any type of gathering has to be 10 or less people, and you have to wear masks, and you have to social distance, and if you don't, you're going to be fined. You then go and do it yourself. You say, fuck that. I'm just telling these people that that's what they got to do. And then you go to a party with more than 12 people, no masks, no social distancing, and drinking and having a great time. The very next day, you should be fired or you should have to resign. There should be a mandate that says when a politician is a say as I do, not do as I do. If you're not a do as I do person, say as I do, not as I do, you get fired. That's it. If you make a law or an executive order and you break it, there should be a clause in every executive order that says, if I, as the person that is initiating this executive order, break the executive order, I have to resign. I can't stand people like that. I can't stand government. And then the best part is, I can't stand the people that support him that say, oh, well, he apologized. He said he was sorry. Fuck that shit. You think he's gonna say he's sorry when they fine your ass for being with like 20 people at your family's Thanksgiving? Is there gonna be? Can you say you're sorry when I get pulled over past 10 p.m. and I get a ticket? Can I say, oh, officer, I'm really sorry. I apologize. No, I can't. I'm getting a fucking ticket. Now it's up to the cop. Most of these guys are good dudes. They're probably like, yeah, man, get out of here. Just go home. But if they don't and they give me the ticket, I'm not getting out of it. I'm getting the ticket. Because I'm just a mutant. I'm not of the royal class here in the United States. I'm not a king or an earl of my state like this governor is in California, where you can go out and make a decree and then turn your back on it and laugh and they say, let them eat cake. Ha 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 ha. People like that need to be held accountable. And this is serious shit. This is what drives me nuts and why I get so passionate, why I yell and why I scream and I get so fired up about these topics. I understand that we as a people are consumed in our everyday lives. I say it on this program time and time again. We have spilt milk. I have issues in my own household that are problems to me this very moment. This very fucking second, I have problems to deal with. But there are also bigger problems that we can't sit back anymore and not point out. We can't be okay with government that says one thing and then they don't do it. You can't. It is straight. Like I'm telling you guys, it's straight up from fucking Animal Farm. The pig. If you ever read the book Animal Farm, the pigs are like, oh, you can't sleep. No animal will ever sleep in a bed. No animal. Apples and milk for all animals. Oh, no, wait. Apple and milk are only for the fucking pigs now. Nobody can drink alcohol. Oh, wait. The pigs can drink alcohol. The pigs being the ruling class. Not the peasants. Everybody's got to work hard. The pigs don't fucking work hard. Do you understand that it's a road, it's a path to having an overbearing government if we already don't have one, that gets to make rules that they don't have to abide by and they don't get in trouble for because we allow it. We sit back, we allow. I did this years ago when I ran for city council in Attleboro. which, you know what? I didn't win. No big deal. I lost by about 100 votes. And then I ended up moving out of Hattleboro. I would have ran again. But I ran on the fact that I would be someone that I had your back. That's what I ran on. I told the people in fucking Attleboro, I go, look, I got your back. And I said it. I go, you guys have spilt milk. You can't worry about this crap. You're in your house. Your daughter, you got to change your daughter's diaper. You got to work. You got to work 40 hours a week. You got to work 60 hours a week. But I got your back. I'll handle it. I'll do it. Everything that you're worried about, I'm worried about. That's what we need. Someone like that. We need fucking someone that has our goddamn back in there that says, hey, I'm not going to put up with this crap. I'm the American dad that sits at home, that doesn't sit at home, that works his ass off. And I understand that everything that's happening in everybody's household is just about the same. Every dude fights with their wife. Every wife fights with their husband. Every kid's an asshole to you when he's 13 years old. Every kid shits their fucking pants, pisses the bed. Nobody makes enough money. We don't have time to deal and to look and to make sure that our elected officials are actually keeping our best interests in mind. We don't have time to sit back and look and investigate this shit. And the little time that we do have, we take a look at it. Maybe we read the headline, we move on. And that's what I said when I ran. I was like, no. I go, some guy asked me, why are you running? I go, I'm running for office because I'm sick and tired of dad. I'm sick and tired of mom not being able to have their voice heard because they're too busy. So I'll be their voice. I'll go in there and I will talk and I will tell you how we feel and how we've always felt and end this bullshit of this class of people that think they're better than us, that think they're smarter than us, that could tell us what to do but can't do the same fucking thing. And why does it just gets me pissed? Everybody should be as pissed. Just as pissed, like when the Patriots lose, people are pissed off, but you're not pissed off when a governor makes a fucking law and then he breaks it. Like it's no big deal. Ha 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 ha, the guy was partying. It's not a joke. And we need people that care about it. We need to find people that we care, that care. We need to find, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see a congressman who went to work in a pair of fucking jeans and boots, like boots that looked like he was working his ass off all day. Like he was great hands that had calluses on them. Smart guy though. He's smart, he's intelligent, but he worked. He knows what it's like to be stuck in the middle class and how difficult it is and that you don't have any time to focus on the problems of the day because you're dealing with spilt milk and he's got your back and you can get on his back, dude. And the guy will carry you, fucking hold you up, and he'll tell you all the truths and he'll out all the people. The problem is if that kind of guy gets elected, he'll truly have a term limit. They'll bounce his ass out immediately. If there were ever a politician that actually made laws that made sense and then abide by them, it didn't just say, hey, you have to wear a mask around other people and then didn't say, hey, you guys, Thanksgiving, 10 people or less, and then goes to a fucking birthday party with 12 plus. And then the people in the state, they defend him. They're like, oh, he said he was sorry. Whoa, I can't deal with it. Huge problem in the United States. It's just a huge problem, and it heads in that direction of creating, when people talk about class gap and about an upper class and a lower class, that's a class gap at its best. You have the ruling class, a governor making an executive order telling you what you can do, telling you have to stay away from people. You have to wear a mask. You can't celebrate and be together with other people. You can't, but I can, but I will. And the fact that people are okay with it and stick up for it, they should be asking for this guy to resign. They should be looking and they should say, you should resign immediately. You must lead by example. And it's not enough for the boss to simply tell someone what to do. If you don't have a boss that did what you do, you're not going to respect him. You're not going to, you just, if you work in an industry, let's say you work in construction and you had some punk ass bitch kid that just went to college to get his degree as a general contractor, but never ever cut a piece of wood. You fucking laugh your ass off at him. You'd be like, bro, get out of here. See ya. You wouldn't pay attention to them. You want someone that did what you did, that knows what you know, tricks of the trade, that has dealt with situations. Why you wear a helmet? You want to have a boss that takes his helmet off and has a big ass scar on his face and says, "This is why you wear a fucking helmet on the job site, because if you don't, a big ass 2x4 is gonna fall and crack your head." It's just disheartening. It's disheartening to see in the United States that you have people that are just straight. We have sheep on both sides of the aisle. Nobody critically thinks. Nobody. This goes right back to the beginning of the podcast where I was talking about strategy. No one sits back and critically thinks as to what legal directions things might go in. There's no strategic thought. We all just do what we're told. We all get in line. If you're a Republican and a Republican says do this, you do it. If you're a Democrat and a Democrat says do this, you do it. If your guy, if you're a liberal and you're from California and your governor makes a law and then breaks it, you don't care. You're like, oh, that's all. Yeah, yeah. I can't. It's a problem. And it's your problem. It's our problem. Not me, not you. It's all of us. This is a huge problem in the United States. The reason that we have a major gap, and it's not a gap between rich and poor. It's a gap between ruling class and not ruling class. They don't call Congress the millionaires club for no reason. These people go there. They're not millionaires, but they fucking sure as hell leave millionaires because, well, that's a whole nother story about taking money. It's just, they want you to perceive that the fight is against they want Congress and politicians and government wants you to believe that the fight is between the haves and the have-nots, right? The haves being the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musks. Look how much money they have. How dare they? How dare they? When that's not our beef. That's not where the beef. That's not where the gap is. You don't need all the money in the world if you're a congressman. You don't need to be a billionaire. You're above the law here in this country. It's terrible. All right. Thank you so much for listening to Spaz'n Out. Guys, please, please, please critically think. Look deeper into situations. Analyze politics in the same way you would analyze a Patriots game. In the same way you would analyze a Red Sox game. I hate fucking baseball, but you get the point. I feel the same way about baseball as Anthony Edwards, I think the guy's name is, or whatever his name is, the kid who's projected to go number one in the NBA, the way he feels about basketball. He hates basketball. I hate baseball. But my point is, anything that you're really passionate about that's not to do with government, analyze government the same way to try to figure out what's going on. You have to critically think, and you have to think for yourself. You don't need to be told what to do, and you don't always have to go with your party's side. You don't always have to agree just to agree. Be your own man. Thank you for listening to America's Podcast.